in part because of the money they've already got tied up in veterans Jaylon Smith and Ezekiel Elliott. Both players hit contract milestones this weekend that locked them into the roster for the upcoming year. However, Dallas Morning News argues that the team needs to hold their current stars more accountable. Zeke's production hasn't lived up to his extension from 2 off seasons ago, and Smith could be expendable after the Cowboys brought in Keanu Neal to play weak side linebacker. So, Shannon, was it the right move to stick with Zeke and Jaylon Smith?
Skip, you say you've been a Cowboy fan since their inception, 1960.
Yeah, 61.
61.
Yep.
Who do you think is a better player, Emmitt Smith and Larry Allen, or Jaylon Smith and Ezekiel Elliott? We know the answer to that. And what did Jerry do when he didn't think they were fulfilling the obligation of their contracts? He released them. Emmitt went to Arizona.
He did.
Larry Allen had Pro Bowl years with the 49ers.
He did.
I don't get this. Skip, I get it. Jerry views the guys that he drafted really like his kids.
Yeah.
He really does. And it's hard for him to sever ties.
Yeah.
In pre-free agency, Skip, you could do this because the guys really didn't make a whole lot of money. And so that's why you see a lot of the old Dallas Cowboys, Skip, they retired. The Randy Whites, the Duttons, the Ed Too Tall Jones, all those guys. Skip, they retired as Cowboys. He wasn't making a whole lot of money, so you just kept them and then just let them go.
Yep.
But when you're making this kind of money, Skip, you got to give me production. You got to give me value.
Yep.
I just don't see the value that Zeke is giving them. And I like Zeke. I thought Zeke was the linchpin for the success that the Cowboys had.
You always did.
I did.
From 2016 on.
But I just don't see the production for $15 million. Jaylon Smith, I don't see the production. I just don't see it. And Skip, you don't pay a guy $40 million to turn around and have him hand the ball out 35 times a game.
Yep.
That doesn't happen. The reason why Patrick Mahomes throw it and Josh Allen, he's going to get the contract, and Aaron Rodgers and guys like that, Skip, you don't pay guys that kind of money to hand the ball off.
Yep.
So how do you get the value out of Zeke Elliott? If you're paying your quarterback $40 million, he's going to throw it on average 35 times a game, and you possibly going to split carries between Pollard and Zeke. How does he ever give you the production to justify $15 million?
He will not.
Unless Jaylon Smith turned into Devin White, Levante David, B. Wags up in Seattle?
Yeah.
How does he justify this? Skip, I get it. I get it. Jerry, they'll go, your guys, you drafted them. You show the utmost loyalty. But if you want to win and continue to win, that's what the really good teams, you can't be afraid to get off your players that you drafted, especially when they're not meeting production to match the level of salary that you're paying them.
Okay, I got it. So let's go back to Bill Belichick and the Brady dynasty in New England. At the height of that dynasty, if Bill Belichick had been faced with these 2 players' decisions, they are gone. It would be cold-blooded cuts.
Ty Willie McGinnis.
No looking back.
Yeah, he traded Richard Seymour. Lawyer Malloy. Skip, the list goes on and on. Mike Vrabel. Keep naming them.
And what's the old Branch Rickey baseball idiom? The mantra is you always should trade a player 1 year before you think you should.
Yes.
Just because they're going to suddenly go into steep decline.
Right.
Just don't try to get that one last year out of them, right?
Yep.
Okay. They had a chance yesterday to just flat out cut Jaylon Smith and say, onward and upward, with no real penalty. And they could have exercised their right to cut bait with Zeke a year from now with no real penalty. And as you know, boom, boom, no. They kept both. So what is Jerry most guilty of? It's what you said. It's stubborn pride. I drafted these young men. I molded these young men. They will give me a premium year. They will both have bounce-back years. They're still in their prime because they should both be in their prime age-wise.
Zeke is 26.
Yeah, okay. And Jaylon Smith's a young, he's still an up-and-coming player who, by the way, in 2018 made the Pro Bowl.
Yes.
At the end of the 2018 season, he was wrecking offenses from sideline to side. He was flying across.
Was it a Thursday night game against the Saints, Skip?
Took it over. He and Wolf Hunter just took the game over. And then Seattle came in to Dallas for that first playoff game with the #1 rushing attack. This is that first playoff game after 2018. They just shut them down, held them to 73 yards rushing.
Right.
Of course, they went out to this Coliseum near where we are.
And they gave them 270.
270? How do you do that? What just happened to the Seahawks, and then how did the Rams do that?
Right.
I don't know. Is it somehow flawed at its core where you're still overrating who they are?
Right.
Well, so Jerry Jones is now not playing from a position of strength. It's of abject weakness because they missed the playoffs again last year. So he did what he had to do to keep Dak. He paid him the money that you were banging your side of the table for him to pay him. And he's saying, our window is still open because I still have a little cap room to play with. Jerry, I don't know, are you going to wake up and spend it or not? Because it's the options are dwindling.
It rolls over. So they accepted it in 2022.
Okay. But I still like their chances next year if you could beef up the defense with what you have left of free agent, as he calls it, pie. And yet he's saying, maybe Jaylon Smith could give me one more 2018. Maybe Zeke could have a bounce back because his best buddy Dak is back in the saddle. Maybe Zeke will rise to that occasion because Dak will be around more. Maybe he can snap him out of it. Maybe he can get Zeke in better shape.
You covered this game 40 years. What do you think?
Okay.
How many backs have you seen have down year, and then pick it back up? Running backs.
All I know about, you're exactly right, nobody. No, never, ever. Okay, all I know is his yards per game have declined every single year he's been in the league, Ezekiel Elliott. Now, the first 3 led the league in rushing, but they were still creeping down.
Right.
And then all of a sudden we went precipitously down to last year was career worst.
Right.
He will give you a flicker occasionally, and I'm not talking about a flea flicker. I'm talking about a flicker of what used to be.
Correct.
You'll see it and you'll say, oh, there he is. But it won't last.
Right.
He can't sustain it. He never looks in great shape to me. He waves out of so many, I'm gassed. I just ran 30 yards. I'm gassed. You got to get me out of here. Get the kid in here.
Right.
What? It's the opposite of what Eric Dickerson did.
Right.
I think he's the greatest runner. He contributes here on our show.
Right.
And Eric, if he ran 30 yards with the ball, he won it again
Well,
and
that's
again.
what most running backs, because they figure, I got you where I want you now.
Yeah, okay.
You tired too.
Yeah, because I earned the right to get this ball in the end zone.
Correct.
Okay, that's how you should be built, and it's not how my guy's built. But Jerry's saying, our window's still cracked open next year. We still should win this division. So I need Zeke to bounce back, and I definitely need Jaylon Smith to figure it back out.
Okay, well, Skip, if he bounces back, then you can pick up his salary. You didn't need to pick up his salary before you saw if he bounced back. So you on the hook now, Skip, for 12 and a half.
On Zeke?
Yes, for Zeke.
You could have triggered